Hi, I'm Pam, and this is my monthly update video where I go over all the things that I was up to in September. So September was a good and somewhat busy month, and most notably, Silksong finally came out. I will be talking about that a little bit in this video, but not that much. In terms of what was new for me, there were 2 new episodes of Point and Drink Adventures that came out. One came out earlier in the month that was one of our normal episodes, and then the Polymedia Network, which is the podcast network that Point and Drink Adventure is on, did our annual charity stream. We were raising money for Doctors Without Borders, and we streamed for 24 hours trying to raise money. Happily, we met our goal, which was $4,000. We went over a little bit. I think we were at $41.65. So thank you so much to anyone who came out and watched the stream and donated to Doctors Without Borders. It is greatly appreciated. Michelle and I did a live episode of Point and Drink Adventure as part of that. You can find that over on the Point and Drink Adventure channel if you want to check that out. I also did a stream of Blasphemous. I played that for a couple hours, which was a lot of fun. Hadn't played that game in a while. But yeah, it was a really good time. Raised a lot of money for a good cause, and thank you to everyone who supported. Now onto the games that I've been playing. I feel like this is going to be one of the shortest update videos for me. I didn't finish too many games because the vast majority of my time was spent on Silksong. Silksong came out, I think, on the 4th or the 7th. I took 2 days off work so that I could get in a lot of hours. Overall, I really liked it. I thought it was beautiful. I thought the narrative was great, better than the one in Hollow Knight. Hornet has such an interesting, fast, agile moveset. The claw hook in particular makes things a lot of fun, both in platforming and in combat. The platforming here was super fun. Just her using her abilities are all really great. I think a little bit superior even to the knight in Hollow Knight. Combat was good. The bosses are much more complex than a lot of the Hollow Knight bosses. And overall, I had a good time, though I definitely understand some of the complaints about not just difficulty, but how punishing the game is, because it is rather punishing in a number of ways. And my number one complaint about the game is actually the economy in terms of rosaries and bone shards or shell shards. I ended up putting over 60 hours into Silksong. I got most of the endings, or at least 3 of them, and had a good time doing it. I do plan to make a longer video giving all of my thoughts on Silksong, since a lot of people have asked for that. I didn't really want to go into it with a review mindset, so I didn't record any of my footage other than like a clip here and there, or really make any notes, but I do plan on doing just like a sit and chat kind of review later this month. Another game I finished is Promise Mascot Agency. I played this on the Xbox. It is by Kaizen Gameworks, and it also came out sometime in 2025, earlier this year. Kaizen Gameworks made Paradise Killer, which was my game of the year back in, I don't remember, 2020, 2022, something like that. And this, I can definitely see some threads between the games where they're similar. Honestly, I wasn't planning to play this, as I played the demo and found it a little bit irritating and never finished the demo. However, Michelle was playing it and I decided I would play it so we could have something common to talk about on Point and Drink Adventure. So Promise Mascot Agency, you play an ex/current Yakuza who's kind of been banished. He's on this cursed island and he has to run a mascot agency. And a mascot is like a sports team mascot or whatever that people hire out to promote their businesses. So it's got a management aspect, and you talk to the mascots. They're all very silly. They've got kooky characters to talk to. Where this game really drew me in was in the fact that it's basically a big old checkbox game. Like, collect all the mascots, go around the island, get rid of all the trash, get rid of all the signs for the other mayor, do debates with the mayor so that your mascot can be mayor instead. Just like lots of little things as you're going around. It's got quite a nice map with just stuff to do on it. You just drive around and you do the stuff and it feels nice, and you go, oh, just one more thing on the map, and then you end up playing it for another 3 hours. Overall, I thought it was a lot more fun than I thought it would be. It is very talky at times. I do like a lot of the writing, especially the shorter conversations that you have with characters that you come in contact with, though I did find at times it was just talk, especially the beginning of the game and the end of the game. It got a little bit excessive, honestly, but just driving around the island was a lot of fun, upgrading your truck, gathering new mascots, going through their sort of life stories and fulfilling all their hopes and dreams. It was just a very silly game that definitely scratched that itch of wanting to just be like, yep, did that. And overall, I really liked it. Another game I played is called Dead Take. This is another newer game, just came out a couple months ago. It is by Surgeon Studios, and I played it on PC. Dylan and I actually streamed this one over on Twitch, at least the first half or so of it, and then we finished it on our own. This is a sort of first-person horror game that uses full motion video. You play an aging actor who's still trying to make it in Hollywood, and he can't get a hold of his friend, who is a much more successful actor who went to this big Hollywood party. So you go to this Hollywood party looking for him, but everything's sort of abandoned and creepy, and you keep getting flashes of things and finding notes and trying to see what's happened. It's got some pretty interesting puzzles in it. Generally, I liked the puzzles, going through the house, trying to find things that'll give you clues of where to go. And the FMV comes in when you find tape reels, usually on a USB, that you load into a machine. So you watch like audition footage or various things that have been taped in the mansion, and then you can also splice those things together to create entirely new footage, which tells you a little bit more about what's been going on. It has a very good cast of voice actors, mostly voice actors who are now doing like on-camera acting as well. Although most of them were in it very little. Like Matt Mercer and Laura Bailey had both, as far as I could tell, had one scene that they were in. And I actually didn't find Laura Bailey's until after I finished the game and I went back specifically to look for it. But everyone did a really good job on it. I liked the concept. I found at the end, it kind of fell down a little for me once it started revealing what was happening. It definitely got spooky, but I don't know if the message really like hit super hard for me. But overall, I liked it. It was pretty spooky. There were definitely some jump scares there, and I liked the puzzles in it. So I think if you're looking for a spooky game and you like FMV, then Dead Take would be a good one to check out. Another 2025 game that I finished is called The Drifter. I played this on PC and it is by Powerhoof. This is a pixelated point-and-click adventure that I played through over on Twitch, and this was a really good time. You play a man who is a drifter. He starts off sort of riding the rails, and then something weird happens, and he finds out that he can basically come back from the dead. So this mystery opens up of, first of all, why this is happening to you. There's apparently a serial killer on the loose, and you've kind of been framed for it, so you're trying to find out who it actually is to clear your name, find out what's going on here, get anyone out there to believe you. It's got some excellent voice acting, especially from the lead character I really liked. It also has some really good puzzles that I enjoyed. It ups the stress level on your usual point and click adventure fare. Because you can die, there are sort of not action scenes, but scenes where you're in imminent danger, and if you do the right thing, you'll die and you'll res back a few minutes earlier with the knowledge that what you did was wrong and new knowledge to help you figure out things the next go around, which I thought was a lot of fun. Some inventory puzzles, some just knowing what to ask people and knowing where to look. I really enjoyed how the story opened up and all the various characters you got to know throughout it. I thought like all the characterization was really good. It had a really good synth soundtrack, and it looked great. And yeah, I find a lot of point-and-click adventures lately have gotten to just be like 95% dialogue and 5% actually walking around and doing stuff on your own. I felt like this one had a much nicer balance where it was more active. There still was a fair amount of dialogue and talking in it, but the story was really good and it really balanced it well between doing and talking, which I really appreciated. So if you're looking for a good point-and-click adventure game, I absolutely recommend The Drifter. And the last one I finished is not a 2025 game, although kind of. My 4-player co-op group on Wednesdays played through Heretic, which originally came out in 1994. It's by Raven, but just this year they put out remasters of Heretic and Hexen. So we played Heretic. It uses the Doom engine. It feels very much like Doom, except with magic spells. And wizards and things instead of demons and guns. So it's very similar. You're going through these levels. The levels look cool. Some of them have some pretty interesting visual effects. You get various weapons to use, like a staff or stabs that throw fireballs or things that throw cannons at people and monsters that you're going through. Most levels you need to find 3 different keys in order to open up new areas to find your way through the level. As you go on, a lot of it gets into the searching and puzzling, in particular flipping switches and figuring out what the heck the switch just did and what it opened up. I thought this game was a perfectly decent time. We're kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel in terms of 4-player co-op games, and this one kept us all engaged and made us actually want to finish the game, which is saying something. Definitely kind of forgot how floaty that era of games feel. It's like your feet aren't touching the ground, you're just kind of floating through. There's just so much momentum, which was kind of a pain in the butt, especially on some platformy areas. But the game was good. It was just a nice kind of mindless shooter, even though it's magic instead of shooting. And it was good to like optimize runs. So someone would be off looking for the yellow key and someone would stand next to the yellow door. So as soon as one person picked it up, they'd open it up, we'd go further. So we're just kind of leapfrogging our way through the levels, which generally worked until someone got overwhelmed by monsters and found themselves alone. But yeah, Heretic was a pretty decent game and I enjoyed it. And now onto the couple games that I retired. Speaking of bottom of the barrel for 4-player co-op games, we had been playing The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing, which is by Neocore Games, and it came out in 2013. And when we started this game, it seemed like it had potential. It wasn't great, but it was good enough to keep us playing. This is an action RPG, so it works very much like a Diablo type game. You've got different classes of character to use, and you run around getting new skills and new auras and new equipment as you battle hordes and hordes and hordes of enemies. And the first, I don't know, 5-ish hours, 4 or 5-ish hours, we were having a decent time. You know, it wasn't the most exciting game we've ever played. The UI definitely could use some work. It was very confusing, the menus and the talents and things. But as we went on, the number of enemies we had to fight and the amount of health every enemy had was just dragging us down. Like, you'd go into a new area, you're not even loaded in, and you're getting attacked by 15 enemies. You kill half those enemies, another group of 15 enemies run in. You finally kill them, you walk 10 feet, boom, another group of 20 enemies. It just like needed just a little rest to just like look at the equipment we found or look at our skills, but it was just combat after combat after combat, and everything took so long to kill. So eventually we just got kind of overwhelmed and sick of it. We were pretty close to the end of the game. I think there was only 3 main quests left, but even one of us, Berger, did end up doing it all by himself, and he said it took another 3 hours, and also said that our hypothesis that it was because we were playing a 4-player that it took so long wasn't true, and it took just as long on single player. So yeah, disappointing because that one started off promising, but in the end it just got so grindy and all the enemies were so spongy that we didn't want to play anymore. And the last retired game is Silent Hill Homecoming. I was playing this on Xbox. This is by Double Helix Games and it came out in 2008. Dylan actually is the one who started playing this and I was just sort of watching, and then eventually we started handing back and forth the controller a little bit. This is generally not thought of as one of the better Silent Hill games, and also I've only ever played the original Silent Hill. The controls definitely were a bit of a step up over that original, but the writing, I don't know, the writing was fine. I didn't really relate to the character that much. It had, you know, the spooky Silent Hill vibes, but the combat, even though the controls were better, still ended up just being really annoying to go through. Also, something annoying about that game is that the menu has an option to invert the y-axis, but it doesn't actually invert the y-axis for the camera look, which is garbage. So yeah, Silent Hill Homecoming, we played a few hours of it and just kind of got tired and frustrated with it. And the fact that even Dylan got tired and frustrated with it tells me that it's not just me being persnickety and too easily frustrated by it. Yeah, we might go back to it sometime in the future, but yeah, Silent Hill Homecoming was just sort of... And that's all for me for September. I think this was a pretty short update video. Let me know what you've been playing, if you have any interesting pickups, if there are any games you want to recommend to me. Keep an eye out for my video on Silksong, which should be coming in a week or two. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. If you want to see more, check out one of my other videos here. I also have a Patreon if you want to support the channel, or you can become a channel member. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.